Perfect.
How is it going, Bears fans? Welcome back to another episode of Beared Down Uncut, the show where we talk everything Bears every day of the week. Today, after a long 2.5 months, we are back with episode number 185 of Uncut. The Bears made a trade with the New England Patriots recently, bringing in a former first-round receiver. We're going to be breaking it down for you guys today, sharing our thoughts on this, talking about whether or not this embattled receiver can make the team, and also talking about what the best case scenario could be here for Chicago. Welcome back to the channel, though. Feels so good to be back after quite the long break. I think I speak for myself as well as my co-hosts Jaylen and Parth. We've all been just extremely busy throughout these last couple of months, but we are getting into the bread and butter of the Bears season. We can't promise a video every day, but for the rest of the summer, we're going to try and bring you guys a couple of videos a week. That could vary week to week. One video, 1 week, 5 videos the next. We're not really sure. We're not going to put numbers and promises on it like we have in the past, but we want to bring you guys some consistent Bears content. Get back into the swing of things. We're going to Family Fest. We're going to training camp throughout the next couple of months. We'll be going to preseason games, regular season games. So we're excited to get back into it. So if you are new to the channel and you want Bears content every so often throughout the week, do us a favor wherever you may be listening right now. Drop a like, subscribe, follow, and we're going to do our best to get you guys as much content surrounding the Bears training camp moves, everything as possible. Finally, to get back into our intro, welcome back to the channel. I am your host, Chris Malpe. Feels so good to be back for the first time since the NFL draft. I am joined today by my co-host, Jaylen McClinton. Jaylen, it's been a while since we've spoke, but how have you been doing? What have you been up to recently?
I've been good. If most people who follow us, they know I'm the youngest. Like I'm 18 years old. I just graduated high school. I'm finally going to college. I'm the last one. So that's been fun. That's really why I haven't been in a lot of videos. Trying to focus on that, getting school and stuff ready. So preparing for college, I'm excited. All the stories about Parth and Chris tell me really get me excited to finally go to college. So other than that, I've been, chilling, watching basketball and stuff like that. So it's been fun. White Sox. Well, I've been watching the White Sox. It's been kind of hard, but it is what it is. Talk some Bears football finally.
Yeah, it's been a crazy couple of months. Just finished my junior year of college. Only got one left, and I know I'm going to be put through the absolute gauntlet this year. But started a 9-to-5 internship working in the city for a big tech firm. That's been taking up a lot of my time for sure. Also been golfing a ton, getting back into fitness. So it's been a crazy couple of months, but we're getting right back into that time of year where, for us at least, it's our bread and butter for the Bears. So we want to bring you guys as much content possible. We're going to start here today and hopefully take off and continue to do some great things. So let's hop into today's episode of Uncut, talking about this wide receiver the Bears just traded for. So coming in from Mike Garofalo and Ian Rappaport yesterday at NFL Network, the Patriots have traded wide receiver and former first-round pick NKeal Harry to the Bears in exchange for a 2024 7th-round pick. That was reported as of yesterday. Harry is a receiver who has struggled throughout his time in the league. He was a late first-round pick, I believe 32nd pick in the 2019 NFL Draft, round 1, pick 32 by the Patriots. He was a touted prospect coming out of Arizona State. And long story short, it really just hasn't panned out for him since he's gotten into the league. His career, he's got 57 receptions for 103 targets, 598 yards, and only 4 career touchdowns. He also has some decent rushing stats on the ground. But throughout these last couple of months, it had been revealed that Harry wanted out of New England for a while. He finds his new landing spot in Chicago. The Bears give up practically the least you can give up to bring in a prospect. So, Jaylen, I want to hear, Harry is someone who has struggled throughout his time in the league. He was a highly sought-after prospect just a couple of years ago. What do you think about this trade when you look at it from the Bears' perspective?
From our perspective, it's a low risk, high reward, type of thing. I wouldn't even say it's really much of a high reward, but it's definitely
Low risk, moderate
yeah,
potential
I would say
reward.
more
Yeah.
moderate. But like you said, he struggled. He's only had 500 yards and 3 touchdowns. In three seasons of play. He's also dealt with some injuries. Especially for a team that really didn't have any wide receiver talent, up until this year or until last free agency, where they just started bringing in a lot of people. He still wasn't able to produce. So, 2024 seventh round pick that Poles gave away, for a 24-year-old wide receiver that has first round talent coming to the NFL. Also, probably one of the tallest receivers that we have on our roster outside of Equinemius St. Brown. Like you said, like I get why Poles did it. Change of scenery could help. Come in here and put some competition to a very mid wide receiver room. So, so
I guess that's the way they say it these days.
yeah,
But yeah,
very. It was very, bro. When I see, I'm like, oh my god. Like, but
yeah.
it is what it is. Like I said, I like the move. Like I said, I don't think it pushes the needle at all. But if he can come in and do better than 500 yards this season, I'm okay with that. If he even makes the roster, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I see it the exact same way as you do, Jalen. I think this is a low risk, moderate reward deal for the Bears. And worst comes to worst, I mean, they cut him, and I hate
Yeah,
to say it, but who cares? They lost the seventh round pick.
yeah,
Ryan Poles showed in the 2022 NFL draft that he's willing to trade back in the later rounds to be able to recuperate some picks. So it's not that big of a loss, in my opinion. But you mentioned, the Bears are coming into 2022 with, in my opinion, probably the weakest receiving corps in the league. Taking a look at how it would probably pan out right now, you'd assume you'd have Darnell Mooney at 1, Byron Pringle at 2. If
hmm
he can make the roster, NKeal Harry at potentially 3, alongside Velus Jones, Equinemius St. Brown, and Cole Kmet. So, I do think this was a good trade for the Bears. You
yeah,
mentioned his height. He's 6'4". He ran a 4.54 40-yard dash at the 2019 NFL Combine. If a change of scenery can help Harry, I think this is a good trade for the Bears, and maybe he could develop into something, become a role player who can at least make plays from time to time.
yeah,
And worst comes to worst, he's the tallest receiver on the roster. If he can make the team, that'll at least be a jump ball target for Justin Fields. Taking a look at some of Harry's limited pass tape, he was able to go make some good contested catches from time to time. So most definitely, this is not an Allen Robinson replacement. However, a good low-risk trade for the Bears. Obviously, we've got training camp rolling up here soon, Jalen. I know you're looking to hopefully get down there. I'll be down there at least 3 or 4 times in the month of August, so it should be
yeah.
fun to see how this entire receiver room pans out. But taking a look at the roster right now and seeing that Harry does have a couple of years of NFL experience already under his belt, what are your thoughts on him going into training camp, and do you think he can make this roster in 2022?
I definitely, think he has a chance to make this right. It's not going to be very hard, to be honest with you. Like I said, somebody tweeted our wide receiver room, and the only names, obviously, I recognize everybody because we signed people, but the only real NFL talent was Darnell, Byron Pringle. Velus is a rookie, so we don't know how he's going to perform. Equinemius St. Brown. David Moore, who just got arrested. So it was like a lot of, like I said, a lot of mid talent. We had undrafted free agent like Kevin Sean, stuff like that. So I don't think it's gonna be very hard if he can come into training camp and show his, what he was drafted for, why he was drafted in the first round, even show flashes of what he was doing in college, just show that he can go up and use his size to make plays for his quarterback. I think he will definitely have a chance to make the roster. Like I said, it's not going to be very hard. It's not a lot of competition it's a lot of competition, but not a lot of good competition that he has to play better than to have a chance to make this roster.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I also think it helps him that he already has some NFL experience, 3
Yeah,
years under his belt. It wasn't the greatest, but he knows how this stuff works.
yeah,
So, when you take a look at the Bears wide receiver room, you mentioned it already, Darnell Mooney. I think you can't sleep on Byron Pringle. He had
yeah, definitely.
42 catches for 568 yards and 5 touchdowns last year in Kansas City and was the 4th or 5th option. I actually think he could be a good wide receiver for the Bears here in 2022. But beyond that, there's no guarantee for just about anyone. So I believe NKeal Harry most definitely can make this roster. I do believe that a change of scenery will help him. As much as I don't want to dwell in the past, Harry's someone who probably would have worked out very well in Matt Nagy's offense. But I'm excited to see what the new offensive coordinator, Luke Getsy, draws up for Justin Fields and co. And hopefully NKeal Harry will be able to make this roster and make some slight contributions. Should be real interesting heading over to Hallis Hall and Lake Forest and watching the Nathan Peterman to NKeal Harry connection throughout training camp. But I think we're all firm believers that he will make this team just based on his past experience. The question that we're going to go on to now, and the question that's going to be there is how much can he really contribute to the team? So, Jaylen, let's talk about this before we close off this episode. Obviously, Harry, as I mentioned, has not done a ton in this league. Only 53 receptions, 4 touchdowns for him throughout his entire 3-year career. But in your eyes, what is the best case scenario here? Obviously, the change of scenery is something that we could coop up to being a benefit for his case. But assuming he makes this team, what's the best scenario? Do you see him contributing? What do you think the best case is here?
Like I said, at minimum, he makes the roster. My best case scenario, like exceed expectations, 300 yards, like 1 or 2 touchdowns. At least we get value from trading a 7th-round pick. So that would be my best case scenario. I don't want to say he's going to come in here and have 1,000 yards, 10 touchdowns.
Blow the roof off.
If that happens, like best trade we've made in the last couple of years.
Pretty good way to start your tenure is
definitely. So I'm not. I'll be very excited if he did that, but I want to be realistic. So like I said, if he comes in here and has 300, 400 yards, a couple touchdowns, I think that's pretty good value from trading the 7th-round pick.
I'm going to go ahead and say you hit the nail on the head there, Jaylen. I'm going to go ahead and agree with you completely. I think best case scenario is he starts somewhere on the roster. Mm-hmm. It's a pretty weak receiver room this year. He'll be able to have the opportunities if he's good enough and ready to play. So having that 6'4" wide receiver with that pretty solid speed on the field is something that could really benefit the Bears and Justin Fields in a year where a lot of people thought the Bears were going to try and build around him. I wouldn't say that they essentially strayed away from that, but he didn't get as much help as he potentially could. The Bears are heading into 2023 with far and beyond the most cap space in the league. So if there's any year where they're going to try and upgrade the offensive line, the tight ends, potentially bring in a new running back, the wide receiver corps, that is going to be probably next offseason when they have more picks, more money to work with. But if NKeal Harry could come in, make some plays, start on this team, I would say that is the best case scenario for him moving forward, and also some pretty good value for the Bears giving up a 7th-round pick. Thank you guys so much for tuning into episode number 185 of Uncut. It feels so good to be back. We really want to try and bring you guys at least a little bit of Bears content each and every week. Obviously, as you guys know, it'll ramp up a little bit more as we get closer to the regular season. But wherever you may be listening right now, if you did enjoy the podcast, do us a favor, drop a like, subscribe, and follow. We're still going to try and bring you guys the most comprehensive Bears coverage on the web. We are going to get our website back up and rolling in these next couple of weeks to prepare for training camp. So if you want to see more content from us, learn more about us, head to our website. The link is down in the description, beareddown.com. If you would like to connect with the podcast on social media, see sneak peeks of some special guests we're going to have on here in the coming weeks, and also just see what we're up to, sneak peeks of early episodes, you can find us on both Instagram and Twitter at Beared Down. And finally, you can find the links to our personal social media pages down in the description for myself as well as Jaylen and the rest of our team. I promise you, as inactive as this podcast can get sometimes, we are still active, especially on our Twitter pages. So the links to our personal pages, once again, are down in the description. Jaylen McClinton, feels so good to be back once again. I love this time of year. I'm super excited to get back out to training camp here. In just about 3 weeks. There's a lot to look forward to, but any last words before we close this one out?
It's crazy. Season 5 since we've been
season 3 of really covering the team, I'd say. But
it's like I said, season 5. Bro, I started doing this when I was 14 years old. I'm about to be 19. Like I said, y'all been like, if you've been watching us from day one.
I was 17, man. I just turned freaking 22.
Like I'm saying, bro, you would literally watch me grow up from a little kid to
man, baby.
Like, you see me go through like 5 different hairstyles, bro. It's crazy. So, Yeah, thank you guys for the support. Like I said, I can't wait. Training camp is coming up. Hopefully, I'll be able to make it out there. Like I said, we're definitely going to Family Fest right before I leave, so excited for that. Yeah, that's it. Bear down.
Yeah, lots to look forward to in these coming weeks and months. We'll definitely, I assume, in these next couple of weeks, be talking about zoning in on some specific players and position groups as we near closer and closer to training camp. But there's going to be a lot of Bears content coming out very, very soon. A lot to look forward to. And the more that clock ticks and the more time moves, the closer we get to that regular season. So there is a lot to look forward to as football starts to be in the forefront once again. Feels so good to be back. I'm excited that we can hopefully start doing this consistently again. Thank you guys so much for tuning in once again, though. We appreciate your support. Year 5, it's absolutely crazy, but it's been a pleasure to be your host once again. My name is Chris Maltby, and Bears fans, as always, do us a favor and stay safe and bear down. We'll see you in the next one. Peace out.